today. Very excited about that. The first one we have to give special kudos to. Jeffrey Gaurd drove to us from Wilmington this morning, so thank you especially. In addition to which, he and his wife just had their first child about a month and a half ago, so congratulations. All right. So double whammy, he's a little overwhelmed, maybe a little, we need to give him some more coffee, but thank you, Jeff, very much. And because he's from Wilmington, I'm going to actually let Jim Roberts make the introduction because Jim is our Mr. Wilmington startup ecosystem guy. So Jim?
And also, we have the camera in a new position, which is back here, so if you are anywhere in the middle between the screens, we can see your screens and laptops and phones and all that, so just be careful what you go to while you're forward. Just saying, just saying.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Jim. I'm on the committee here for A Million Cups, and I always stand in the front, and I always say I'm the Wilmington startup guy. And you guys kind of tilt your head like, what the hell is going on in Wilmington? Because you guys don't hear about Wilmington very much. But today we have some proof. We have Jeff Gaurd here from Brilliant Soul. Jeff is a very good personal friend of mine. When I ran the incubator at UNC Wilmington, he was one of our first tenants. In the last 12 months, Jeff's company, Brilliant Soul, has won the exit event, Tech March Madness, which was a statewide event. So he was the winner of that, thanks to a lot of friends who voted for him. Number two, he was just awarded the North Carolina Technology Association Top 10 Startups to Watch. And in Wilmington, just last month, he won the Cucalores Connect, which is Wilmington's version of South by Southwest, or hopscotch, or whatever you want to call it here. He won the pitch contest. So please welcome Jeff Gaurd and his company, Brilliant Soul.
Thank you, Jim. Thanks, everyone, for having me here, too. Again, my name is Jeff Gaurd, founder and CEO of Brilliant Soul. And what we're making is a smart sensor-embedded footwear platform to control movement through virtual reality. There's a big problem controlling locomotion in VR right now. Can I just have a quick show of hands of how many people here have tried virtual reality? Okay, good portion of you. Those that haven't, I'd recommend giving it a try. If you have an opportunity, if you ever see one of the high-end headsets, an HTC Vive, an Oculus Rift, try it, because it's one of those things I can talk about it all day, but unless you've experienced it, you don't really know. So I'm gonna start with my slides here. So I'll just play it first. So notice two things. First, how immersive this is, and then two, of course, she says she wishes she could see her feet, which is a common gripe.
Oh my gosh. Wait, that's actually insane. I wish I could see my feet. Oh my god. It's not gonna like make me fall, right? Okay.
So I actually just did that to my stepbrother over Christmas, and you just collapse. You forget where you are. That was a mean thing to do, but he deserved it. Trust me. So this is seen as one of the biggest problems in virtual reality. There are a lot of other big ones, but locomotion, again, how we control movement through virtual spaces, is seen by a big problem, and the experts agree with me. This was actually my first observation using VR, and the reason that I started this, and it started as an experiment, and the experiment worked too well not to pursue it further. So this is an example of how locomotion is being handled now. It's called teleportation. And it's simply pointing to a line of sight and clicking, and then that drives your first person to that spot. And that breaks immersion and continuity of gameplay and experiences. So it's just widely seen as just completely inadequate. Then the other way that it's being done is just with a traditional joystick, like video games. So some people have tried to solve this problem, but all the solutions that are out there are either too expensive or they're just extremely limiting. Where you're fixed in a position, the top one on the left there, the Virtuix Omni, they actually pulled from the consumer market because it was just too expensive. Again, you're fixed, you're locked into a device. It's great, but it's just limiting, it's not practical. The bottom right, Freedom Locomotion, they have a relatively simple solution. Uses your head bobbing, but you're still using your hands to direct movement. The 3D rudder on the top right there is actually at CES right now as we speak, is receiving some great press. But still, you're fixed into a sit-down, face-forward position, and it's just very limiting. So this is our solution. It's with smart footwear. So you will be able to have a walk-in-place method. You'll be able to sit down, kind of like that 3D rudder. It's just we're creating a really versatile solution with really endless opportunities for that can translate small sensor movements with your feet, sensor-picked-up movements with your feet to locomotion. And the locomotion problem is actually broken up into a bunch of sub-problems. So first off, you really want to see your feet and feel your feet in VR. So when I say feel your feet, using haptic motors to actually feel different sensations of the virtual surfaces you're walking on. And then, going back to that video that was shown, people want to be able to look down and see their feet. And in most cases, you're not able to do that right now. And then the reality is you don't have much space when you're using virtual reality. And this is even true on the commercial side too. So I have a relationship developing with a company called Schreiber, and they actually do virtual simulation training for MLB, NFL, major college sports teams. They actually just did a successful program with Walmart for corporate training. And they said that there is just a lack of space in the spaces they're using. So we're creating a system that can translate small movements to big movements in VR. And the reality is we are used to consuming content sitting down. So we're creating a system where you can control full range of locomotion in VR while sitting down. So of course it's got to be the shoes. When you look at all these different problems, it all gets back to the only way to have a comprehensive solution is with footwear. So we have some IP, and the IP is pending, but it focuses on basically, it's two assumptions. One is that sensor-embedded footwear is going to become ubiquitous, and so is VR. So what pattern recognition elements will be required for such a system to work really, really well to control locomotion in VR? So we have a mobile app that makes the system really, really flexible. So you can actually switch between those different input methods and movements and the different control types that you're emulating. So we actually have it right now where it emulates the keyboard and mouse, which is traditionally used for PC games. And so it works with a lot of those first-person shooter games, which is a really big market for anyone who plays video games. It's over, the PC video game market is about $100 billion. That's globally. So we have a custom IoT platform that this runs on, and it's made to be really, really flexible. Because again, the VR systems that are out there reside on a number of different platforms. So we've built this so that it is potentially compatible with all of them. Of course, we're focused on the high-end PC systems initially, but hypothetically, when things migrate more to mobile, we'll have a system that works with it. It's scalable and customizable. We're building this as an open platform so that game developers and users can actually create new input methods with our footwear. So we want people developing new use cases in addition to VR and gaming. So our plan is we're focused on the VR enthusiast, the gaming enthusiast first. We're making it, again, an open platform so people can develop on top of it. But we're also making this as a really simple form factor. So we want this to be a potential mass market solution. And the VR market is going to be really big. And there are a lot of different predictions out there. Some people are a little bit down on it. Some people are wildly optimistic. I'm wildly optimistic. I just see this as, I focus on the potential of this medium. And that's really what I look at. And I look at, okay, I see the problems that need to be solved, but once those are solved, there's just nothing that compares to VR for delivering educational, entertaining, and just experiential content. So, and actually, 2017 predictions actually held up. So it was about a $6 billion market this year. So we have a pretty aggressive plan to make this happen. over the next year. Of course, a lot of this hinges on having a successful capital raise, but we do have some initial interested potential customers, so we're looking at strategic partners right now. This is the team making this happen. We have a lot of talented guys and myself, but we're working hard to make this happen. And this is everyone is doing this part-time right now too, except for myself. So we've done a lot with very little resources so far, but we have a really talented team. And that is Brilliant Soul.
All right, do we have any questions? Here you go. Here, I'll just point to you so you don't keep your hands up, and we'll pass it around.
I'm not totally clear on where this is going. I understand that you're targeting the VR market.
Sure.
And you said mass market. Are you talking about an average person might buy a shoe like this in the future?
Absolutely. So it's clearly the VR market is not a mass market product yet. It hasn't reached a mass market. I don't think it will for years. There's just, again, there are too many problems. The cost barrier is just too high right now for the really, really good systems. But those are coming down really, really quickly. I mean, just in the last year, it's happening really, really fast. But we're targeting that VR enthusiast market first, and it's an open platform. So there are a lot of potential applications out there for smart footwear, and we're focused on that one problem. But within that space of VR enthusiasts, gaming enthusiasts, there are a lot of highly capable creators, and we want to make it possible for them to create on top of our platform.
Okay, right over here.
Hey Jeff, congratulations on your new baby.
Oh, thank you.
I'm curious, just in terms of your market, how do you differentiate between those who might see the value of having like being able to see the feet versus those who actually want to be like running through the forest full locomotion? I mean, how do you think about the market in those terms?
So we're just trying to create the best possible solution. I mean, really, you're always going to be limited and constrained by the space that you're in. I mean, you have that Virtuix Omni, so that actually, we're never going to be able to be as realistic as running on that almost they call them treadmills now, but it's just not a realistic product for a consumer right now, or not for a long time. I mean, there's a reason they pulled from the consumer market, again, you're limited to that fixed position. So we're creating a flexible platform that you can use with a number of different input methods. So think a virtual game where you're skiing or snowboarding, or again, we want to put it in the hands of creators and let them also decide what they want to do with it. We want to focus on solving that initial problem, give them some initial options and a broad range of use cases, but hopefully there are people that are going to be able to create things that we haven't even thought of.
Okay, right over here. Oops, sorry.
Hi, Jeff. Thanks again for making the drive and sharing your ideas with us. Congratulations on your recent success, too. Question for you. I guess you make a bold claim about solving the locomotion challenges in VR. How do you know this will do that? Do you have some beta groups out there? What kind of feedback are you hearing?
I mean, it's from use and people using it. I mean, it's just one of those where we're using it and we're saying this is it. This is so much better than the way it's being done right now. And we're really confident. I mean, this is something I've kind of obsessed over for years now. And we're dead convinced that this is the best possible way to do it.
Okay. And what do you need from this group?
Any introductions? I mean, anyone that you think might be interested in this. Of course, we are looking for early angel investors, but really strategic investors too. So people that are working in the VR space. They will, if you talk to them, they will acknowledge the problem. I mean, this is widely acknowledged out there. So people recognize that it is a problem. And then when you talk to people that are going around the world talking about the locomotion problem, they really like the way we're going about solving it right now too. So strategic partners is really what we're looking for right now, and of course angel investors too that are interested in the space.
Right over here.
Hey Jeff, this is Sean. Actually, that was my question. So what could we do to help move you forward? But also just outside of the question, just the affirmation that we've developed for VR, and we know that the nature of this problem is just that people basically get nauseous when they're in VR if what's going on with their body doesn't match what they're seeing.
Yep.
So that's the actual issue here, and it's prohibitive. It's one of the few barriers that could that's slowing down VR from going big. Is because you can't make the kind of content, particularly in the games department, you can't make the kind of content that people are used to playing translate directly to VR, because if the locomotion if what's going on with your feet doesn't match what's going on with your eyes, you start to feel sick and it turns people off. But if this is one of 2 or 3 things that if it gets properly solved, or at a cost that people can manage, that's what's gonna take VR to the masses.
Yeah, and I completely agree with you too. So I mean, you pretty much just answered one of the reasons why we're doing this, and I can just tell you that this feels better than using a joystick for continuous locomotion or a touchpad. It just feels right. It makes more sense to your brain, and that is one of the big problems. Is when there is a disconnect with what you think should be happening virtually and what's actually happening. And yeah, it does cause motion sickness, and that problem is partially being solved by the higher end systems that are just higher latency. So you're much more apt to become sick with the lower end systems. Google Cardboard, all the mobile systems. So again, that's one of those things I would highly encourage you to try the higher end systems if you ever see a demo.
I actually have two questions. One's going to be an easy answer for you, and the next one might be a little funky. But are you selling shoes, or are you going to sell inserts? Because here's why I go with that. Because I don't know about anybody else here, but my feet are pretty whacked out. I got high-end steps. I got, my feet are almost a size different. So if I'm going to put on a shoe that's not going to fit well, my true feeling with an uncomfortable shoe is going to measure, it's going to throw something off, and it's not going to give me the experience that we're seeking.
Sure. So this is going to be an obsolete prototype really soon, but we're actually working on a prototype with insoles, where everything is embedded in the insole, in whole sizes. They will be comfortable also, and but the ultimate goal is to create that actual insert that shoemakers could actually easily manufacture into their shoe. I mean, so we want to focus on the technology that's going in there. We have to prove out the form factor, so we have to create the hardware. Unfortunately, it is hard, but
Right.
we have to do it because no one else is doing it.
All right, no, that makes perfect sense. And then this leads to my next question. So will I have the ability to feel texture as part of this? Because, like, for instance, if I walk on a rug and the emulation is that I have bare feet, and say it's a rug manufacturer that wants to use this to sell how cushy their rug is, I'm just making that up.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, we want to emulate a true feeling. So
Right now, we actually, each prototype, each foot has 2 haptic motors in each one. So you can make different vibration sensations with that. Now, I don't know how accurately we're ever going to be able to emulate the actual feel underneath your feet unless you have a lot of different things going on in the footwear. But there was actually a company, a Japanese company at CES last year that got a lot of attention with footwear all it was is purely haptic footwear. And the reviewers said it was just this really weird sensation that they, again, trying to create different sensations for different surfaces, but they said it was actually incredible. It also kind of actually reaffirmed some of my own assumptions that I had before too. But it was basically, it provided an extra sense and an extra sense of connection to the experience that they were in. So.
I think one of the interesting use cases I'd like to see is actually on the clinical side.
Sure.
I wonder, like with patients with Parkinson's, for example, one of the problems they have is kind of the stuttering step. It'd be interesting to have something like that as well, and then it also opens up kind of on what
I agree. So that's the most attention that I've gotten in this particular area, in the RTP area, is everyone is focused on the medical applications, which I agree. I think there's also a lot of IP out there too, but it's an open platform. I don't know we want people to solve those problems too with it.
And then so it's an insert. That's what my biggest question was, what is the widget? So it'll be an insert that could go into any shoe then, right?
Yes.
And then potentially cut down, you said there's only hole sizes and such. I'm just wondering if you can partner with like a Happy Feet or something that already creates.
I mean, well, you saw the Yoda slippers there. Absolutely. I haven't done this before, so there are companies that are out there that are going to be much better at scaling the technology that we're building. So absolutely, those are the strategic partners that we're looking to partner with. So I had a call yesterday afternoon with the guy that ran Nike Plus, and then he was at Under Armour for a number of years too. So we are actually we're looking at that.
Okay, so supply chain connections would be another one that.
Yes,
okay.
yes, absolutely. Please. So I would like to. We want to be under $200 initially. At scale, we can get that down to around $100 to $80 a pair, and that's the ultimate goal. But it is, we're shooting for at least, if we run a crowdfunding campaign, which is the plan, the first quarter, we're looking to shoot for under $200.
How you doing?
Good.
There's a lot of smart people in this room, but most people didn't raise their hand when you asked if they had ever put on one of the headsets. So I was wondering if you can give an example, outside of some gal walking on a plank, of how and why this product would be used. What sort of games are out there? Just one or two examples of how to use. Also, one more thing.
Sure.
Is this technology being used for gloves or hands for other projects right now?
There are actually a lot of glove systems out there right now. So there's a lot of people working on, putting that haptic feel around your hands, actually giving you, locking your hands. So if you pick up a ball, it's going to lock your hands, so it'll feel like you're actually picking up a ball. They're tracking your hands. So actually, I have it set up. I don't know if you've heard of the locomotion, where I have that mounted on my headset, and you can actually see your hands in virtual reality. So that is being done by a lot of different people, and that's a whole other set of complex problems too. So we have to really stay focused on what we're working on. And then some of the applications, just first-person movement, really through virtual worlds. So just some of the cool applications that that I really like, really enjoy using virtual reality is Google Earth is incredible. So I have Google Earth on the HTC Vive, and you can literally go to any city on the planet and walk around like Godzilla style, walking through buildings. And I'm not big on the first-person shooter games, but it's more of the experiential stuff. But I focus on the potential of virtual reality and really, think about it. You could be, say, okay, I want to go visit the Louvre, virtually right now. I just feel like doing that, or I want to go walk down a street in Italy, or go sit on top of Mount Kilimanjaro, which is pretty cool in Google Earth too. So those things are possible, and just the fidelity of these VR simulations is just getting better and better and better and better, and really, really quickly. So it's a pretty exciting space. So yeah, really, it's that first-person movement, but it's also giving that the capability to, again, like I showed the skiing picture, because that's just like a natural, okay, if you have footwear that can pick up, which way you're moving, can actually track your feet. So skiing, board sports games would be really, really cool for it.
Over here. So is this a controller that could work with, not with VR headsets? Like,
Yep, it does, yeah. So it emulates, so right now we have it emulating keyboard and mouse functions, which is how traditional or most PC games work. We're working right now on emulating the HTC Vive controller.
I just wonder if, I understand the like of VR and the thought about all the potential, but what if you had a shoe that if you tap twice, it moves the slide forward?
Sure.
You could do that right now.
We could easily, if we gave it to a programmer, they could easily program that function.
So you could program it to, if you're a guitar player, to hike up the amp with your guitar.
Yeah.
Or a sound producer could do anything. So essentially you can free your hands so that you have a controller for your feet.
Yeah, so what the system does right now, and it does it through Bluetooth Low Energy with the footwear, it spits out data. And it spits it out really, really fast, because you have to as a controller. And so it spits out the accelerometer data, the force sensor data, to a mobile device. It's a mobile phone, and that mobile phone relays that data over TCP or Wi-Fi to an end PC. So the mobile device can be the endpoint, the PC can be the endpoint, and it also can move data to the cloud too. So yeah, third-party developers will be able to, we don't have the mobile API done yet. We have a PC API done. We have an integration with Unity already, which is great. That's a big deal for us. But yeah, there are definitely a lot of other applications, and it's made to be flexible, and we had to do that for VR too for a number of different reasons.
I have a question.
Oh, sorry.
I have a question because I've seen in Europe in skiing and all that stuff. It's called Camkel, and it's with the virtual when you're doing that. Why are you starting to build? Because they're already, you're starting from scratch. Why can't you build? They're already very popular in Europe, in Japan, and all that stuff. Software engineers who are doing these visual things with neurologists and all that stuff. Why are you starting from scratch? Why can't you build on them? Because they're already popular. You know what I'm saying? Build on their platform.
What is popular?
It's called Comcast. It's the company which does what you're doing, building on this. They already have a platform, and a lot of people are building on. People are doing the games and all some of this stuff. They're already building on this platform.
For hardware or for the actual gaming engine platform?
The gaming platform.
So the biggest gaming engine is Unity by far. So about 90% of the VR applications that have been made around the world are built on Unity. Unreal Engine is actually a huge one too. That's made by Epic Games. So if that's a local company. So that's basically, those are the two big ones. There are a couple other big ones. So that's a big one in Europe.
Yeah, that's a big one.
But yeah, we have a simple SDK right now with Unity, and I think the next one on our schedule is the Unreal Engine. But right now it's a time and resources issue. So we have a lot of we have priority a development schedule.
Okay, we have time for just 2 more questions.
Awesome. If anyone wants to see where this is going, watch Ready Player One.
It's coming out in March. That's gonna be a big one. So that was, and you talk to anyone who's really interested in VR, they kind of laugh. That's what got me interested in this.
Yeah.
I read that book maybe 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's dystopian, unfortunately, but it does kind of make you realize, it's just there's so much potential for the medium. You put on a headset, you're in another world, and when you think about how we're going to learn in the future, it just makes so much more sense to be able to learn anything by putting on that headset. So this is, VR is really progressing on the commercial side too, specifically for that. But there's just so many different applications for it.
I love the concept of anyone in the world can go to the best school and learn from the best teacher, right? Virtually, you can have 1 million people in one classroom. It was a really great book. Spielberg's doing the movie, looks awesome, and it's all about the 80s, so be excited about that.
Yeah.
The other question I actually have is, it seems like when I've done VR, you do have boundaries. I mean, you don't want to, there's a physical wall, and you don't want to run into it,
which
right?
happens.
So it seems like your technology will use a combination of teleport and real walking. Is that kind of what I'm gathering? Because you're going to set up your boundaries.
So right now we have it working 2 different input methods. So we have a walk-in-place input method, and you can actually control direction that you're walking to by the 4 sensors underneath your feet too, which makes it something. It's actually unique from other systems that have done that. And then also directional pressure, which actually feels great. So you're just literally controlling the movement that you're going in by leaning in a specific direction.
So you don't just face the way and then walk and then stay in a place and walk that direction? Because it can tell which way you're facing.
Well, then you still have that covering a large distance problem, which is why teleportation is used now.
Oh, okay, so that's where you'd use the lean and things.
Yep.
That's awesome.
All right, last one.
Thanks, Jeff. Question, you mentioned sports and some teams that you're working with.
Mm-hmm.
Are you using it for performance enhancement or injury prevention treatment? What's the application?
I mean, they're interested in it from just more of foot tracking, and again, just being able to control locomotion around spaces. So I'm not working with them yet. They're interested though. They acknowledge the problem. They like how we're going about solving it.
All right, one last thing. One thing you failed to mention, what are the asks do you have an ask or two of the community? How can we then help you?
Sure. No. Any introductions to, again, strategic partners? If anyone knows footwear manufacturers or VR or gaming developers, that's who we're just looking to talk to, get in front of, and kind of network in those spaces. So yeah, strategic partners, people that are interested, that are actively investing in VR and gaming spaces right now.